Welcome to Making Awesome. Chapter 20? Yeah? Is that what we decided? We decided on Chapter 20. We have the ever effervescent Billie Ruben on with us today. But before we get into too much about her, we got to hit that billing department because the bills don't pay themselves. This episode, as always, is brought to you by 3D Musketeers. If you have an idea, if you like to make awesome, and you want to take that idea out of your head and make it real, and God, traditional technologies have failed you, or man, COVID just ate your budget and that stimulus check ain't cutting it, give us a call. We can help you spend that stimulus check. 3dmusketeers.com. But let's get into it. I got the boys here. We got Billie. Billie, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you calling in from, first off, and how do you make awesome?
I am from Brisbane, and that is in Australia. So it is summer here. And I I like making lots of 3D printing stuff lately. But I have a background in theatrical costuming, and I've done very many crafts over the years. But yeah, lots of 3D printing lately.
Dang, I didn't know the background was theatrical costume.
Yeah.
That is
So that makes a lot of
sweet.
sense, actually.
This
Did you
is
all
good.
do no research on Billie before we had this episode?
I've
I've
seen,
done
like-
plenty of research on Billie, but she
I've
didn't
seen
just
in
make
your,
a post that was like, "I'm a theatrical costumer." I didn't. Come
I
across
hope this
that
isn't
one.
weird, but I went back through your Reddit history and I was like, oh, making dresses and stuff, that was cool. And then your 3D printing stuff, obviously. So it all fits together. I see now. Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, all the red string.
Probably saw some other stuff on Reddit then too. Is
Wow,
this safe
we're
for work?
starting
Is this
off
a safe?
there.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
all right.
no, it's not safe for work. Don't worry about it. We crossed that bridge a long time ago.
That's true. And we are actually recording over 9,000 miles away. I just checked to see the distance from Tampa to Brisbane. It is 9,068 miles. So this is officially an over 9,000 podcast. Hell yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
And
Oh
Billie,
my
what time is
God.
it where you are?
It is 9:30 a.m.
9:30 a.m. Oh, okay.
Yeah, very reasonable.
it's
On
but
Sunday
it's,
though.
I'll say, yeah, it's 9:30 a.m.
We're
on
in the future.
Sunday.
Oh shit! Didn't even think about that.
It's 6:30
Okay.
p.m. on Saturday for me. So yeah,
Yes.
that is our biggest time difference. So we are recording. I think the longest call that I've been in was when it was Billie, Faye, and myself. I was the thorn between two roses, and we were well over 15,000 miles for the call. And oddly, it went really well considering the fact that we are transmitting live data, live audio across literally the globe. Still
Technology is
blows
amazing.
my mind. And people are like,
Me
"Oh,
too.
my YouTube video buffers." Do you understand what's going on
achievements?
right now?
How
This isn't,
cool the
Alexander
internet is.
Graham Bell anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I went back to uni recently, and of course most people in uni were just out of school, and they were saying things like the internet was a mistake, and I'm like, you have no idea what life was like before it. The
Yeah, they have
internet
no
is
clue at
freaking
all.
amazing, even with all its terrible bits. It's amazing.
Yep.
Like, oh, they have no idea. I had to explain to them like how the iPhone changed user interface design, and because they've always known apps, like it was just always a thing in their
Yep.
world, and
Yep.
yeah,
It
it's
didn't used to
very-
be that way. It used to be like
computers
OG
used to be really hard to use.
Blackberries and PDAs and stuff with that.
Mhm.
I
Black and
remember
white.
flip phones. Do you remember flip phones?
I remember.
Oh, yeah, I had a flip
I
phone.
begged my parents for a flip phone when I was.
I remember
16.
flip phones.
I'm glad Thomas is literally the only one that got the member berries reference, but that's okay.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Billie, that is from a very, very poorly made television series in the United States called South Park.
Oh, I know South Park. We have that here. I just don't.
Well,
watch
like-
that.
I'm sorry.
If I was to really get into it, Grant, I don't know. It's hard to say it's poorly made.
It's sort of intentional.
Okay, overall, their writing is not bad, but some of their really deep character evolutions where they, like the whole series on PC Principle. Are you kidding me? Come on, move on from this. Let's go into
I don't
something
know.
else. Where are the shenanigans that the boys are getting into? I don't care about PC
They're
Principle.
good social critique, I think. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
They-
I like
they
them
go-
from that
Like we need any
perspective.
more of that.
I
I don't
like
know,
it.
Grant. I don't know.
I mean,
without jumping into a giant rabbit hole.
Yeah, for those that are tuning in, we are recording this on January 9th or 10th, depending on where you might be in the world. So if you're unaware of what happened this past week in the United States, just click on the Googler and figure it out.
Yeah, I figured that
no
out.
one is aware of that.
And who knows?
Well, so since I didn't know that much, I guess, about your past, Billy, or like what kind of directed you towards now doing a lot of 3D printing and stuff, and now with the added knowledge of costuming for stage, like, so did you go to like uni for that, or did you was that just something that you ended up doing, or like what did you do to get into that before even all the 3D printing stuff?
So when I was leaving school, I didn't know what I wanted to be, and I still don't. But I had too many interests, but one of my English teachers pointed me at the major state theatre company here and said, "Hey, they take on an apprentice costume maker every year. Maybe you'd be interested in that." And I applied and I got it. And so I spent a year being an apprentice there. So part of it was like trade school sort of education, but a lot of it was on the job learning as well. And it was sort of a tailored degree because they take on a new apprentice every year as sort of a service to the industry, because there's a lot of skills that are very particular to costume making, and even theatrical costume making, like for the stage, is different to for movies. So yeah, they take on a new apprentice every year as a service to the industry to keep it kind of alive. And yes, I was very, very lucky to be that person for a year, and thoroughly enjoyed it and learned all sorts of things like hat making and so much about costume making. I always had an interest in making clothes though, because my parents had a kids clothing company when I was growing up. So I was always surrounded by fabrics and stuff, and I've always very much enjoyed textiles and making stuff with them.
Billy, you actually just recently won a contest for your textile 3D printing.
I did. The Prusa Printers had the Prusa Printers website, prusaprinters.org. Is that what we call it? It's like a model host. It's like, I just want to differentiate it from the place where you buy the Prusa printers, because they have like a thingiverse equivalent.
That's Prusa 3D.
I'm pretty sure it's prusaprinters.org.
And then it's prusaprinters.org. Yes.
They had a competition for wearable 3D printed stuff, and I entered in my necklace, which I've actually made a few years ago, and I should be wearing. It now occurs to me. But it's 3D printed onto fabric. And yes, 3D printed onto fabric, a little necklace, and the gems kind of look like they're floating because the fabric I chose was really see-through and transparent. So yeah, I won that, and I have a Prusa Mini on its way to me. I just got the shipping notification. It'll come in a few days, so I'm excited.
I'm excited. I'm so excited to see your journey in that, because we bought 4 of them over Black Friday, and they're not here yet. I was expecting one of my 2 Elegoo Saturns to show up today, but please, Mr. Postman hasn't come by yet. But that's okay. I try to make at least one crappy song reference every episode, and that is truly one of my goals in life, other than to fix the green camera problem, which no one watching can see.
Luckily.
Otherwise, I just, Thomas is like most video signals are RGB, and I've only got the G, right? Mm-hmm. Is that what we decided on?
Oh yeah.
Well, Zoom's only giving us the G. You're getting the R's and the B's, but we're stuck with the G.
So I got a little R and B over here, so I'm smooth. You guys just got the G. Mm-hmm. Wait, so you have the money?
Yep.
Shit.
Yeah. We got the green, Grant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Australian dollar dues are
rainbow
green,
colors
right?
here. Yeah, no, we're like Monopoly money. We're like Canada. We get all the different fun colors. And
Yeah.
they're all made out of plastic too. Pardon?
Or is it still plastic, or is it paper?
Yeah, plastic. It's a special plastic, and it's got like holograms in it, and it's got all kinds of fun stuff going on.
They can get wet.
Yeah, totally can get wet. I can't imagine not having money that can get wet. That's a nightmare.
Our money will fall apart.
Yeah,
it's true.
I think I have some, but
it's a major design flaw.
Yeah.
In Canada, this is actually a really weird thing to get into, but like I feel like this is the designer in me. When it comes down to like how dollars and different currencies designed, it's super insane with like all of the different hidden things to make sure that it's counterfeit. But Canada's dollars have a transparent strip on one side of the dollar printed as part of the whole dollar, which is insane and super cool. And not only that, but they have this little part of it, and if you were to shine a laser pointer through it, it will project like a maple leaf.
I'm pretty
onto
sure ours do something
surfaces.
similar. Yeah,
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and that was the
really cool.
that was the first time I ever
Sophisticated.
saw that, and I was just like, oh my god! And their dollars are also, Australia might have this too, but they're designed in different sizes, so you know how much money it is based on
Japanese
its
money
size.
is the same.
Yep, and they have little textured bits that feel different, and there's like
Mhm.
little holograms on them, and also UV light things so you can shine under. Yeah, all sorts of
And-
stuff going on. I
and
don't even
when it
probably know it
come-
all.
When it comes down to it, it turns into I'm gonna get so into this just for 1 second.
This is a
but
tangent.
It comes into so much things from like design for accessibility of all different kinds of people, because
Blind
now you
people.
have money that blind people could understand the value of, which is very important. And it's not even that big of a deal to print them in different sizes. So
Yep.
it's like, oh guys, come on, we're really missing the mark. It's like such a crucial part of your society.
American
to
money
have-
looks like it came
Yep.
from like the 1920s or something.
Because it
I
did.
feel like
Yeah.
it's so strange in
Yeah.
America because it's like you pick something and then you just stick with it forever, like feet and inches. Like,
It
come
can't
on,
change
people!
ever.
And they're like, but it would
It's
take so
so
much
bad.
money to change it all. I'm like,
It's so
every
We
other
have
country
one
on the planet did
constitution,
it.
and it is not allowed to change, except that's the whole point.
all of our
Yeah.
Yeah.
and all of our rulers like have metric on one side of them anyway a lot
Yeah.
of the time.
Because
And so it's
all
like
the ruler people are
guys,
like, please, come on, you can
I
do
mean,
it.
take measures. I can still get them.
As
Like,
an
what are we
engineer,
doing?
I could tell you it is murder to have to deal with these units that are not base 10.
Yes.
wait,
What even is a
if-
ton?
So that would make it you guys, I mean, Tad, you would probably know, and Grant too, all of the conversions pretty easily, or at least, whatever.
No, I
but-
don't remember most of them.
No?
I always have to look
Say
them up
like a
because
metric ton versus a US
Yeah.
ton.
yeah,
Metric
like
ton
an
is just
imperial
1,000
ton.
kilos. Boom.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like-
which is
I'm talking like an imperial ton is like it's
2,000
not like an even.
it's 2,000 pounds an American ton, but a metric ton is 2,205 pounds, I think.
It's weird.
I-
There's
I-
Why the Wow, we could
We
really
would-
have it so easy, couldn't we? Like,
Yeah, we
It's
really could if
so
we just
easy.
all
You literally
settled on
teach
it.
it to 4-year-olds and they
Okay,
get it.
I was
like,
close.
actually
Yeah.
4-year-olds.
it's
Yeah.
Oh, my lord.
2,204.62 pounds.
0.6. See, it should never have a decimal in it ever. These should all be like easily converted, but no, we had to be different. We had to, count our
I mean, geez,
everything in base 12.
half of my day when we're working with new clients is going in a Prusa slicer and scaling everything by 2,540 because they're designing in inches and everything that we do is in metric.
These millimeters. Yeah.
Ah, who CADs in inches?
Literally
Oh.
everybody in the United States that hasn't figured it out
Oh.
yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
Lord.
oh no.
So-
no.
sometimes I'll just stay in inches to keep myself from going crazy, but I usually never start anything of my own in inches.
On the plus side, though, Billy, programs like Fusion 360, you can just go in and click, hey,
Change it.
I want to go to millimeters, and it updates everything. You go to
That's
click things, and let's say we're working on something where it needs to be 6 inches long. We don't have to go to Google and figure out what that is in millimeters. If we're working millimeters, we just do 6IN, hit enter. It gives you 6 inches in millimeters. It's one of the
It's
beautiful
good.
things about CAD. It's why we love CAD so dearly, because if you were doing this in like ZBrush would say, what are dimensions?
This is true.
And Blender's like, no, you have to use Blender units. It's made up.
Blender has
fantastic. It's a Blender
Ta-
unit. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
every
Tad,
yeah.
everything in Blender is like this game of like, okay, so why?
Welcome to Blender, where the units are made up and the points don't
Dude,
matter.
It's
Dude,
Literally,
but
you
open source.
Yes.
Learning Blender is like it's like trouble. You troubleshoot a certain amount when you're learning new programs, but
Right.
Blender is like 70% figuring out why you can't open two windows and then you can't close one of them easily. Oh yeah,
Like,
no, like
baseline
Blender.
user interface shit.
So
is
Tad,
not
Yep.
get
yep,
this
yep.
bullshit. I'm gonna get out of my system because
Okay, complain. Vent to me, please.
Yes.
in a
Please.
3D program you have viewports. We all
Yeah.
are familiar, and you
Right.
can have 2 different viewports, right?
Right.
And that's like kosher. We're all great.
Yeah,
we love 2
that's
viewports.
kind of the expectation.
We love a rendered view and we love a wireframe. But
Mhm.
Blender's like, yeah, so you want to open 2 of these? And the first time I did it, I'm like, oh, this is great. Like everything's working.
And then you
This
went to
totally
close
makes
it.
sense. And I wanted to have one window, and there's no X on the windows, and there's no clear distinction of how to
What?
close it. But the thing is, you can't drag a new window. You have to like drag windows in by like clicking on the side of a window to open a new one. And if you want to close a window, you need to grab the window and drag it to the left, and that will close it by merging the windows. And there is no other way to do it. So if you have a billion of them, they can be stacked. And I ended up with like 30 windows open, not knowing how to close any of them, trying to drag them into each other. And it turns into like a puzzle of like
Why do
how
people put
to
up with
figure
this?
out. Well,
Because it's open source and free.
It's free.
it is free.
And for a long time, it was the
That's
only
not a
free
good
one.
excuse.
But it
And
was for a long time, it was the only free
admittedly,
one. And very opinionated people who don't care about user experience design controlled the whole project for a
Apparently.
really long time. The latest, they released a big release recently, which drastically updated the user experience. It's still slightly a nightmare, but it's drastically updated. And the whole Blender community, existing Blender community, like lost their shit. And
Because
then
they were
everyone
used to it
who's
being
ever
one
tried
way.
to get into Blender is like, oh my God, I can actually
Yes.
do it now.
I can do it now. Yeah, it's
I
Yeah.
used
Granted,
it once to like convert some
it's-
kind of like an OBJ to something because it has a built-in converter. I was like, I'm too lazy to go find a
The
different
converter
one.
is nice.
And I was like, what is this?
It is a little better now. So if you haven't tried it in a few years, give it another go now. It's still not where many modern
It should
apps are,
be.
but it is better than it was by a large margin.
I want like a UX like fusion when I open a program. Something
Oh,
as
yes,
accessible
please.
as that, you know.
Even though it changes like every 3 days.
I
Yeah.
met the UX designer for Fusion the other day. Like,
Really?
yeah, on this like
Did you
secret
interview him?
squirrels call. It was really cool. No, but I should ask. I'm
That's
not
cool.
in. I feel like I'm not in the cool club yet, but I'll infiltrate. And
I
maybe
think
we'll
you're in
get
the
him
cool
on.
club. I think you're more in the cool club than we are.
What has won an international competition, has her own podcast called Meet the Maker.
You also have
Is
a
one of the
Well, you were there first.
what?
I did,
Making
right?
podcast. Nah, I only have 12.
No?
Yeah, we
Really?
You were there first.
we beat her to the punch.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
See, you are cool.
But you're cool too,
Cool
so
club.
don't give yourself some credit.
But see,
Aside from the
Billy's got social media down, which is something that objectively 3D Musketeers at the time of recording still does not.
Yeah,
maybe
we're working
by the
on
time
it.
this episode comes out, we'll have our shit together. But Billy is crazy active on Twitter. Billy, how can our listeners and watchers find you on Twitter? What is your Twitter handle?
I am Billie Ruben Make, all one word. Make as in making, but just make. Yeah.
She is super active on Twitter, posts all these really, really cool things. Recently, you put something up about the hidden printer in the background. You, madam, have a Creality CR30 print mill, and it is hiding in the background. Tad Thomas, that is a Belt 3D printer, and that is an incredible machine. And Billy is finally starting to do some really cool stuff on it. I am so excited to see you make awesome on it. I am fired up for this.
Me too.
I want
like
this printer to be so much better than other Creality machines. Because
It is. It definitely is.
Good.
Because I came into this with a pretty heavy bias against Creality because I have personally had a lot of problems with mine and also seen a lot of problems and like severe problems, safety issue problems with Enders and CR10 series and stuff. So yeah, I came into it with a pretty heavy bias against Creality, and it's pretty fucking awesome. It is so solid. The prints are so good just out of the box. I think there's a few things on there like, and this is totally not Creality's fault, like belt printers are new. We don't use this motion style much. So the slice is a little more rudimentary, which is I don't think a fault at the machine at all. I think it's just we haven't used them much. That takes a bit of time for us to work out. And I've been working out little things along the way that I'm going to be sharing with people in a video, I think. Like I've worked out the best placement to put a brim, and that helps everything stick and work and everything. So you have to manually build that in, but it's not hard. So yeah, like I'm just going to have a video on talking about belt
I'm
printer
sure
things,
it
because the
will
way you
get
design
there.
a part is different for a belt
Yeah.
printer than a normal printer, just because of the angle. Like the overhangs are mind-boggling. So I'm going to do a video on how to understand a belt printer if you're coming from normal printing, and like how to design a bit for it and the things you have to consider.
Well, you
And
just take your standard 3D
like
printer
that
and
sort
you
of
just
stuff.
go like that, and
Yeah.
your whole
I mean-
world blows up.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Yes. But I'm still wrapping my brain around it. Like it is like that, but also it's like you also have this extra level of support of the bed, so you can kind of do more angles than you normally would.
Mhm.
But it's not necessarily intuitive. I keep stumbling and finding, oh yeah, that's right. Like I'm not there yet, but I will be, and I'm gonna help make a video to help other people get there.
So how did you get involved in 3D printing? Because the CR30 is definitely not your first 3D printer. So let's talk a little bit about how you went from a theatrical costume designer to Maker Extraordinaire.
um, well, I wanted to make some dice for Dungeons and Dragons, and I had in my brain these sort of crystal-shaped dice, which I finally actually just nearly close to finishing this project. But I
Nice.
wanted to make a collection of dice that were all the sort of multi-sided dice. What do you call it? Polyhedral dice that you normally have for D&D. So you have like a D4 and a D6, and they all have 4 sides, 6 sides, 8 sides, 10 sides, etc. But I wanted them to look cool and crystally. So you like roll these off your hands. They're like stick dice, like from ancient Egypt. And I was inspired by those, really wanted to make those, knew that I couldn't make them by hand with any level of accuracy that would allow them to be used by dice. And I mean, polyhedral dice are not as accurate as like milled dice that casinos use, but still, I didn't want to use my hands to
You
make
ain't
them.
running
That
a
would be
casino
really
out of your
hard.
house, Billy, okay?
Yeah,
It's fine.
that too.
Good
but
enough
like
for government work.
even normal D&D dice are not super accurate because they're cast, which it gets deep. But anyway, I knew I couldn't make them properly by hand, and so I investigated 3D printing, and it was going to cost me like $150 just to get them made, which I mean is totally fair. Like that's the amount of time. And now that I'm in printing, I understand it. But I wasn't going to be selling these. It was just like a random idea I had, so it wasn't worth the price at the time. And then one of my housemates said they're selling 3D printers at Aldi, and Aldi is a shopping mall here. It's like not even a mall, like a shop. It is a supermarket. It is a supermarket,
but it's more than a supermarket.
Okay, but you also have these weird weekly deals, which are amazing generally. Like they're like they will have like a gardening weekend or a sewing weekend where they will just have really cheap, really good stuff. And he's like, yeah, they're selling 3D printers at Aldi, and I was like, what? Get me one. And like he brought one home, and I gave him the money and stuff, and I just fell in love, from day dot. Adored the thing. And I come from I've always been good at computers and software and that sort of thing, but I hadn't done much in hardware and mechanics and stuff, so I had like a bit of a learning curve there. And then as I developed in the 3D printing, I shared on Reddit, because at the time I was very involved in Reddit, and I would just share everything I did on Reddit. And so I shared my work there and stuff, and I eventually, just through sharing my projects and things, got to be relatively well known and became a moderator there. And I've noticed lots and lots of people, like, because I was helping other people learn 3D printing, and new people coming in all the time. Noticed lots of other people struggling with things like leveling and stuff. So I made some posters for that sort of stuff, and design posters and stuff for how to 3D print stuff.
We're gonna link all of that in the description, because honestly,
I'm kind of rambling.
Yeah.
No. You are not rambling. I'm gonna stop because I want to interject. Those posters, those graphics, you are a phenomenal graphic designer. Thomas, get on the internet right now. If you haven't seen the like the bed leveling
Thomas
guides
is a real graphic
and
designer.
everything that Billy has made, it is so good. And let me like go into this.
I find it on your Reddit, or where do you have some of these posters?
Reddit. Yeah, it should be some of the top posts of all time.
It gets
sweet.
shared all
Oh,
the
there they
time
are.
because it is so damn good.
Yeah, it is pinned to like
so
every 3D
good.
printing community ever now.
The trick is, this industry, we just kind of suck with marketing. I don't know why. Like every other industry that we work in has great marketing. There's established things. The 3D printing industry, historically we don't do very good. And as soon as Billy put that out there, one, it's got her name on it, so it's really recognizable. But two, it goes through step by step to where I don't care who you are. If you can read it, you can get a 3D printer running. And that is so awesome.
These are great
a lot.
posters. You don't have to worry about these. These are super good. These are very quality. They're so awesome.
It's easy to find them on my website too. I just realized I'm scrolling through my Reddit history.
Yeah.
There's a link. Yeah.
It was like right at the top, but
Links
which
down
is
below.
convenient.
I was also going to say,
I was just going to say, Grant, I was actually thinking the other day, because I feel like every once in a while you'll explode into this tangent of like, this is the history of 3D printing in 3D printers. Let me tell you every 3D printer since inception.
Oh,
And
here we go.
I was like, have you seen the really cool poster of like every single space vehicle ever made? And it's like a big poster. I think if we did like a poster of all the 3D printers in a graphic style with a little information on date and what they were and why they changed the industry, would be super freaking cool.
So too.
Super freaking cool.
And we could sell it.
Yeah, if you want
pending
to sponsor
copyrighted.
that.
Don't even trick about it.
Our
Pay me to
idea,
make that
do
and then you
not
can sell
steal.
it.
Nobody's take that.
Nah, they got Thomas. He can make it.
No.
We'll
we're gonna
collab. It'll be fun. Yeah.
Hell
Okay,
yeah.
that sounds good.
Yeah.
No, but Billy, you have been instrumental in so many people getting a 3D printer functioning, because I swear even to this day, it's why I do not go on Reddit much anymore in the 3D printing sub, because it's all just, why does my first layer look like this on my Ender 3? They should just have a bot that just instantly posts all of your...
Because you
It's
bought an
probably
Ender.
leveling. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because you decided that your time was worth so little that you wanted to spend very little on a 3D printer. Please, people, if you are listening, thinking about getting a 3D printer, before you pull that trigger, unless it's coming from Ursa3D.com, because you probably can't go wrong there, right? I mean, come on. But before you pull that trigger, please call us. Please, 813-803-4973, please. Because I swear, if you buy a 3D printer, you break it, and you make it my problem, I'm not going to be happy about it. We do charge for that kind of thing. So don't do that. And if you do that for some reason, before you call us, because you broke it, go look at what Billy put up. Because those are going to be incredibly helpful into you not just getting your printer back up and running. The big thing is understanding it. Because we can just fix it for you, right? This is the teach the man
But that's
the
not
fish
going to teach
versus
you anything.
giving him the fish, right? We could give you the fish. It's going to cost you. But if you put some time and effort into it, you can learn how to fish, and you don't even need a fishing license to do it.
Yeah, you can release them for free. So you can buy them on Redbubble, but
Okay, hey, we'll put
them as
the
well.
paid link down below. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'll give you my website because you can download them and buy them there. But yeah.
I was also going to say, Billy, I used your tutorial on doing renders in Fusion recently.
Yes, we did. We did it.
That
for
was
a
very
client.
helpful.
We had a
Because I had
client
never done it
request
yet, and I was like,
Because I think people don't know that it exists.
Yeah.
And I didn't until I did, and then I was like, oh, I should probably tell people.
And it looks good.
Actually, yeah, like you can get a pretty decent render. Sometimes it fools people. And I'm like,
Other than it like bricks our computers for 20 minutes.
yeah,
But
you can
otherwise-
send it to the cloud, but it costs money. So I'm just like, I
Yeah.
just make a cup of tea.
Wait, who has money? What?
Yeah,
what is this
exactly. I don't
business
have
you're
that.
talking about?
Yeah, I'm happy to wait.
The worst part is it's CPU bound. I just
Yeah.
wish Fusion could let me put it over into a GPU.
And they
you
had
know,
some kind of
for
weird
a
bullshit
graphics
excuse.
processing.
Yeah, on like the Fusion 360, not support page, but like their internal forum. They're like, someone was like, why don't you have the ability to put that on GPU rendering yet? And they're like, people would try it without having the capability, and it would make their machine go too slow. And I'm like,
Blah.
come on, that's a cop out
Malarkey.
if I've ever heard one. Yeah.
The Fusion team are just really, really small. Like I raised some issues a while ago and they addressed them really quickly, but I have this feeling they're like 5 people. Like,
Really?
I really think they're really small. Yeah.
Part of me feels like they put some of these roadblocks in as an intentional way to get people to move up to Inventor. Because Inventor, there is not a free tier of it. You must pay for it. And don't get me wrong, the paid tiers of Fusion are incredibly affordable. It's like $500 a year for the kind of work that we do. Dude, that's an easy check that we write and we're done. But as a maker, as a newbie, to have a free account that is fully loaded in CAD is amazing. But then we have this little issue of tutorials. And I know that you've talked about this in your Discord. Huh? We can link that down below too. Huh? As Billie has her own Discord where you have mentioned doing some training of Fusion 360.
Yes.
Is that something
yes, I
that
did it
you-
recently for Make.
Which, by the way, top tier cool client right there. You did work for Make. Come on. And you were in Hackaday, right?
Yeah, I was at the SuperCon replacement this year was Remoticon because it was remote. Yes, and I did a workshop and a demo there.
Come
And yeah,
on.
I've been in Make
That's so
magazine a
cool.
couple of times now, and Hackspace magazine, and yeah, like a few. Yeah.
And you say you're not in the cool club. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Billie, I've never been published in any of this stuff. You are a published maker. Come on.
Okay. It's just still weird to me. I was very uncool in school, and it's just still weird to me.
I'm pretty sure you're
Anyway.
on a call with a bunch of uncool geeks.
I was
and
about to say
nerds.
that you're in good company then.
Yeah.
'cause-
Good.
We all went to school when being geeks was not very cool. Although
Yes.
Thomas
It has
might have
since
hit the
become
tail end
in
of that.
vogue, but
What?
that was a long time coming.
I was on the tail end. I was kind of cool, Grant. I don't know, maybe.
He was
Yeah,
a
look
theater
at it.
kid.
Just a
Oh yeah,
little
you were a
bit.
theater kid, but I guess Billie kind of was too.
Yeah, but theater kids weren't cool. I was just a weirdo. Like I've always been a weirdo, but now I think the world appreciates weirdos. But back then, being a weirdo was like bad, real
Outcast.
bad,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
for confusing reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I
and
think
like
we've evolved some since then.
I recently found out I have ADHD, which colors a lot of my social interactions, and I didn't know that at the time. Obviously,
Is it green?
So
Is it a green color?
I know just the way I interact with people is like abnormal and feels weird to some people, though other ADHD people love it. Anyway, and I'm just learning all these things about why I was a bit mental in high school. Yeah.
Weren't we all?
Weren't we all? Yeah.
Yeah. you
My
know,
my
so-
brother finally got like diagnosed with ADHD, I believe. Yeah, it's ADHD, I think. And
Really?
yeah, did
Wait,
you
there's
not know
another
this?
brother?
No. Yeah, you
Yeah,
didn't
Grant,
know
I have a
this?
twin brother.
He has a twin.
I
You
have
knew
twins
this.
too.
Also an
I'm the
identical
older
twin?
brother.
No, he's not identical.
I
He's
have
Fraternal.
yeah, yeah, no, and ever
He
since
did?
he found out, he was yeah, I believe so.
Oh, this
it's either
happened.
that or it's ADD. It's one or the other. He's on
Peter
Adderall
doesn't
now.
tell me anything.
Yeah, I
apparently.
will. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, and he said it completely
Oh, that's right,
like
Peter. Right.
changed his entire like existence in a lot of ways, like in a really positive way. So the fact that he was able to like even acknowledge it and like for that to be more normalized, he was like, oh my god, like finally,
That makes a
like
big
I understand why my head is the way it is, and boy howdy,
100%.
it's
yeah.
improvement. Yeah.
And there's nothing
Went through
wrong.
the exact same thing, and there's
Mm.
like radically life changing for the better. You feel like you've been handed a superpower pill, and suddenly you can actually do all these normal human things that have always like bewitched you. And also like there's also this process though of like grieving what you could have been had you had this
Oh, yeah.
help sooner, and that was quite painful in a way because you're like, wow, if I'd had this in school, would I be a doctor now? Would I actually have done that? Or and all this stuff. But you could, you eventually get past that and you're like, I am who I am and there's no changing that. And I like who I am well enough now that I have medication. Yeah.
We
So,
like
yeah,
you. You're pretty
it's
cool.
life changing.
Just a little bit.
I mean, Billie, you were one of the first people that we ever followed on Twitter. Huh?
There you
Come
go.
on.
Well, I guess we were friends on Reddit, so
Yeah. I God, how long have we known each other?
How long have I been printing? Because it couldn't be too much.
It's
Short,
been at
like
least
probably
2
three
years.
years. I was gonna go 3. I don't know. Maybe it's 2.
I would
I'm bad
say
at time.
3, because Tad's been
Mhm.
with us for 3 years. Thomas has
Yeah.
been with us not nearly long enough, and I think it's at least 2 years, probably 3. But yeah, we've been back and forth on so many different things, and you are one of those people that I can count on when I have an idea to say, yeah, you should do this, or God, what the hell are you thinking? What are
I would
you
phrase it much
thinking?
nicer than that, though.
I mean, look, I don't need the sugarcoating, okay? But you are such an inspiration because
Oh my God.
you are always no. Come on, take a compliment, damn it. You are always helping people. You are the embodiment of someone that makes awesome. Because not only do you make cool stuff, you make cool stuff for others, and you are going after this ideology of open source. We talked to Dan Stein, I think. God, maybe I got his name wrong. The patent attorney who I met in your Discord.
Ah, cool. Yeah.
And
Nice.
we talked all about patenting in the 3D printing industry and how he firmly believes open source is like a massive, massive problem. But nonetheless, he looks at what's done here and says, it's so commendable because everybody is getting together and saying, okay, we can do this. But we all just kind of have to understand that we're all going to give it away. And like that was when Creality first came out with the Ender 3, they were utilizing open source stuff. They weren't
calling
giving
it their
anything
own, right?
back. Exactly.
Yeah.
You, along with quite a few other makers.
It was Naomi, not me.
Okay.
I did not. Naomi.
Naomi was certainly the impetus to really make that happen, but you did some calling out of your own. I remember that.
Did I?
Oh yeah, on Reddit you did.
Okay. I mean, yeah, probably. I've been pretty opinionated on Reddit, but Naomi definitely drove that ship for sure.
I mean, given she's in mainland China, she can take care of those things.
She literally walked down there and whooped them into shape.
Literally, and now she's become one of their spokespeople. Still. I don't know.
I think so.
I don't know where that's
She taught me
going.
that, so they're still connected somehow, I think.
Yeah, and I am so thankful for her because had someone not stood up and said something, we would still be, because if you don't hold people and companies accountable for their actions, one, good or bad, right? Good or bad, you open up the ability for other companies to come in and say, hey, we're just going to patent all of this. Good friggin' luck. Because particularly in the United States, we've talked about this before, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, the USPTO, is, well, they're not good. They're pretty bad.
There's room for improvement.
Yes, yeah, their report card would definitely say
least.
Room for improvement. And it makes me so happy when people come together like this, because that's what this is all about. Right.
Yeah, well, I think Matt Stoltz once said to me, or said to someone, I was there, I can't remember, I don't think it was actually directed at me, but like, we learnt the skills we learnt from the community, so we should give that back to the community too. Like, I wouldn't know what I know had I not been told by someone somewhere along the way. And even that poster of 50 CAD design tips, like, sure, I discovered a couple of those on my own, but a lot of them were just like seeing someone else do it and then collecting it into a format, so yeah, we should be giving back to the things that made us, really. It's just sometimes hard to be paid for that as well, which is a struggle I'm in at the moment. Like, even though I'm in all these magazines and stuff, like, I am losing money every day doing this. I need to, somehow work out a way to get money as well.
Normally,
without I don't want to lock out too much of my content. That's the hard thing. Is like that balance. Like, I don't want to lock away my content, but I also, there needs to be some incentive.
You need income.
I don't know. It's like hard. It's
right.
Really
Starving
hard.
artist indeed. And so normally in the middle of the podcast, we'll do a mid-roll, right? But that's normally for 3D Musketeers. Let's have it be for Billie Ruben. Billie, tell us where the folks at home can find you. Come on, I'm putting you on the spot. Let's do the mid-roll. Because, look, just like Linus Tech Tips does LTTstore.com, where can the people find you so that they can support you and get you one step closer to becoming a paid maker?
Well, Patreon would be awesome. Patreon/Billie Ruben. That would be awesome. And then I have a website, billieruben.info, where I post a lot of stuff and has links to all these things. So if you get lost, go there, billyruben.info. And then the Discord community, I'll pop a link to because it's a weird number of letters for the link, and Twitter. Those are the places I hang out most, I think. And of course, my shiny new YouTube channel, which I don't think we've even mentioned so far, but I do YouTube now. So please watch me there. I don't get paid yet, but yeah. So on YouTube, I do really short, sharp tutorial things for various bits in software, like we mentioned the Fusion one before, but also Mesh Mixer and a little bit of Blender and stuff like that. So just like really tiny little short, sharp things. Also a weekly podcast where we meet a maker and do something rather like this, but with a different maker, and we have really diverse bunch of makers. It's not really. It's not really more structured. It's pretty loosey goosey, and we chat a lot. And yeah, just get to know people who make really different stuff. Like we've had materials scientists and aerospace engineers and yeah, artists and architects. And so yeah, just that's a really I really enjoy those chats. It's really kind of an excuse for me to hang out with cool people.
It's true.
But it's fun too. Other people get to hang out as well. And then I do project videos as well, which seem to be better performing videos where I'll like run through a neat project I've done, and they take a lot more effort to put together. And I'm still really struggling with the video making thing. Like I am very new to it, and all of it is new, so it's just slightly overwhelming still, but I'm getting there. And yeah, I've got someone 3D printing feathers, like quite realistic feathers for like hats and stuff. And I got another one on how to.
It really is.
Thank you. Yeah, I've got another one on how to print interesting textures into your first layer, so you get like hologram sort of effects, and yeah, that kind of stuff. I think my upcoming videos, I did a little vote recently on the Discord and on Twitter and stuff. And the one that came clearly the winner was how to organize your stuff by a maker with ADHD. Because as you can see, pretty organized back here, and it was definitely not like this for most of my life.
It was more like my background.
It was. My stuff wouldn't even be on the shelves. Literally, I had to wade through my craft supplies. It was like something out of one of those hoarder shows. It was literally that bad. Like little tiny goat trails for me to get through to stuff. So it's been a journey to get to here where it stays like this all the time. So I thought I'd share a few tips and a bit of that journey to help other people, because I know it's something that takes so much emotional energy. It's when your space is all like chaos, you have to hunt through it and find stuff, and then the thought of putting it all away and just everything is everything
kind of hangs on you.
Draining.
It's depressive.
Yeah. It is.
It really is.
And so it's really hard to make when you're depressed. Like I know we have the struggling artist thing, but it actually doesn't. Depression actually doesn't help you do art. It gets in the way of you doing cool stuff. So yeah, I thought I'd do a bit of how to get to here. How I got to here, at least.
Yeah, the one thing that we push heavily here is mental health, right? We believe in people seeking assistance for mental health, and you can definitely tell the state of where I'm at every episode by how crazy the background looks. If there's like lots of machines running, I'm probably doing all right because we're making a bunch of money. But like days like today where there's one machine running, you can't even see it because it's out of frame. Kind of a slow day, but we have a new toy. I got a Sunlu, it's over there, Sunlu filament dryer. Because this is Florida, and similar to Australia, ambient humidity is high. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, if you walk outside, Billy, what's ambient humidity right now other than stupid?
I never even pay attention to it, but I can feel it in the air. It feels like a sauna. Like.
Oh, geez.
What's the temperature?
Yeah. I'll look it up.
Okay. You don't have to give it to us in Fahrenheit. We can do quick conversions for people, but.
So we got, it's 26 degrees, which is relatively pleasant. And the humidity
is like
is
70 something,
60%.
right?
Yeah.
60%.
60% humidity.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
That's outside. Okay, Thomas, to give you an idea, my dehumidifier is on. It is 42% ambient humidity in my office, and it is 74 degrees Fahrenheit, so roughly 26 as well. It is currently 47 degrees Fahrenheit outside, so pretty big temperature differentials between my office and outside because of how wet it is in Florida. Normal ambient humidity in Florida is 80% or above when you're outside.
Mine's 80 right now.
80% ambient humidity?
Yep.
Tad, you should put your filament in
I really
bags.
should.
Well, that's exterior ambient humidity, right?
I mean, most of it I do. Yeah.
Okay, because if you're 80% ambient interior humidity,
No. I don't know what it is
you need
interior.
to dry that out because that's how mold grows.
No. I mean, and usually the only things that are not bagged are the ones that are on the actual printer at the time. So.
No.
Yeah.
I'm the same. Yeah, I have sous vide bags that I put them all in.
So I first asked you about those because you posted about them in your Discord, about the sous vide bags with the manual pump, right? Using a manual pump to
I just
do
use
it.
my lips a lot of the time, but yes.
Fine, Miss Fancy over here, but
Fancy
That's
with my
like
lips.
Miss Unfancy,
Lazy.
right?
Yeah, that
Because
is
you
Miss
would like,
Lazy
I feel like the
Pants.
fancy would be like go to Amazon and buy the pump. But
is it because you're lazy or because you have lost the pump?
I have the pump.
Okay.
I am definitely lazy.
It's just too much work to get the pump
For me, it
out.
would be because I lost the pump.
Is it a mechanical pump or is it like an electric pump?
It's a mechanical, like little.
Oh.
It's like a big syringe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it working out well for you still?
Yeah, I haven't had any
Okay.
problems. But
'Cause-
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I haven't had any problems. I have never tested, scientifically.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to work for me. Because you can tell when the bag is leaking because the bag swells up again. So you're like, oh, that bag is broken. I need to, yeah. So, but I only generally print in PLA. I've only just started printing in PETG. So I also wouldn't see it as much because PLA,
No.
as much as people are always like, dry your PLA, that's the problem. It's usually not the problem. The problem is usually a slicer setting somewhere.
It's a
Like
pep
PLA
bag.
is pretty solid. Yeah.
Yeah. And even PETG, I mean, literally, PLA is over here, PETG is over here, including some fun colors like the translucent metallic rose gold from Atomic, which is a really fun color.
Atomic is
that
good
was a
stuff.
lot of tags
I
to put
wish
onto
I
the
could
front
get
of
it.
a filament. There's
Oh.
like all of them.
Is there a semicolon in there?
You were just missing glitter or something. Like,
No, it is. It's metallic because there is glitter. That's
Ooh,
right. I'm on a
shiny.
different camera this time.
You're
You all
still
can't
green
see it
to
anyway.
us,
It's freaking
so-
green. For you.
I can tell that it's
Yeah,
very
maybe
reflective.
Maybe you can see the
But I'm
spool
pretty sure I
design.
know it because I
Yeah.
have looked at that atomic filament so much and the other iridescent white one, and I've wanted it for years, but the shipping is more than the actual filament to get it here to Australia. So I
Yeah.
That's
I was
sad.
all set to go to Murph next year, and like I was gonna bring a whole suitcase empty to come
Just
home
bring it
with
back.
filament, and then COVID happened, and I'm still so cut.
oh
Yeah, I was
my
gonna
God.
film a
That's so
video with
bad.
Joel Telling in Seattle, and it was just gonna be great. Everything was gonna be great, and it wasn't.
Oh, you were gonna film with Joel? That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That is
I got my
awesome.
felt printer. I'm making a printer that prints in felt. Instead of it's not done because I didn't go to Murph, so I had no reason to finish it. But I've actually been working on it again, so I'll get that done.
I love how Billy tells us she's nothing important, yet she was going to be filming with one of the largest YouTubers in the 3D printing
I
community.
think that says more about how lovely Joel is than.
I mean, Joel is pretty lovely. I will give him that. But you are severely discounting how awesome you are. Your story is truly a unique one, right? It is this process that you go through and how you are so transparent and open about it. It's inspiring. Unfortunately, there's so little that we can be open about with what we do here. So a lot of it is just more of us explaining the broad spectrum of what we do. But when you make these videos of how you are just holding somebody's hand throughout the entire process, it is absolutely amazing. It is truly amazing. And I don't know a better way to describe it, right? Because I don't know. I've never met a maker that is so committed to helping others, honestly, before they help themselves, right? Again, you're going through this issue of you are an incredible maker, and people are watching your content, but a lot of them are watching it on mediums where you cannot obtain a kickback if one did exist. So algorithms aren't putting you to where they need to put you, and it is so frustrating to see that happen. Thomas, how can we help Billy? Because she does truly deserve to be out there more and more. I know, obviously, all the nice backlinks because recently, and Billy, you should do this. Go start submitting your RSS feed to other podcasting places. We are now on Pandora, on iHeartRadio, on Stitcher, of which I need to get all those links. I got to figure out how I find those. But
I didn't know we were on those platforms.
We just got on them in the past week and a half. You're friggin' welcome. But we need to push. And I know it's tough because, at least throughout my life, I was told, you do not go out there, toot your own horn. If you did something cool and good, other people will do it for you. And that's not.
It's just not true. In this day and age, at least.
Right. And
you got to be your own advocate.
So, how, Thomas, take a look at Billy's social media. I want to say, especially when we start working.
What am I doing?
Hey, I'm putting you on the spot, so let's just do it, right?
Okay.
Because there's always something that people can be doing better. Whether it's, hey, you need to just bother people.
I think we can learn a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's more about learning for us.
Well,
yeah.
I wish we had more learning
The social media
videos.
stuff, like, it's accidental that I ended up with so many. Like, I never planned, like, I never went and did a media strategy or anything like that.
Well, yeah,
but did Joel Telling?
Interacted with people and,
well,
like,
yeah,
genuinely interested in what they're doing.
Well, I think that's what you did, right, though, Billy, because the thing that is really hard about social media is you can, like, try your hardest, but it's about being genuine, and people will follow people who are just showing their work and being open, and also talking to people is huge. So, like,
it helps to be a social butterfly. Well,
yeah, the thing that I've been told a lot when you're trying to market or, like, get your own following going is basically like, subscribe, follow, repost everybody else's stuff. And then that will start to establish you as being part of a community, blah, blah, blah. And then you get that cross-pollination. And so it's just kind of like that natural thing. It's the same thing we're doing, Grant, but Billy just did it way earlier.
Yeah.
So
I think Billy's more effective than we are too. And it just like all.
Yeah. I just genuinely like making friends and, like, genuinely like hanging out with people, and I just genuinely get excited by other people's stuff. Like, my dream job is working at the local makerspace and just helping people make stuff, because I just genuinely find it really interesting and, like, yeah.
This reminds me of something I've been meaning to ask you. So your co-host on your podcast is Faye, right?
Yes, yeah.
How did you guys get together?
Just Twitter. We just found each other on Twitter and, like similar stuff and talked a bunch and just became friends, and yeah.
It's really fun following both of you guys on Twitter. I see so much more fun, weird stuff in my feed now
than before.
Yeah, I mean, I already had weird stuff in my.
Of course
Twitter,
you did.
But, like,
it's you.
Yeah, I mean, we all know, but yeah, no, so Grant, it was interesting. You said earlier you were like, you have such a, like, interesting, different story of, like, how you've come to be a maker, and I can't help but say, while it is true, it's also really fascinating how much a lot of the people we've talked to have kind of come to this maker space that is, like, 3D printing in a really similar but different way, where they're like, oh, I was doing this thing that somehow related to making, and then, like, one thing led to the other, and I was like, oh my god, look at this crazy accessible thing I can do. And just, it seems like there's a lot of similarity with the people that are part of this. And similarly, a lot of these people are also like, I don't know what I like to do, so I just do it all. So we're here now.
Yeah. One of my friends made a joke, Zach Friedman, who has an amazing YouTube channel that is just skyrocketing so quickly, made a joke recently about how every maker has a little bit of ADHD. Zach Friedman. It's Void Star Labs. Okay. Yeah.
See, this
it's amazing and well worth a watch. He's so entertaining.
Anytime you mention these people, tell us who they are, because I know who Zach is, but I would probably bet that Tad or Thomas, where they are on my screen at least,
Didn't hear
I
about
don't
it
know where
before.
they are.
Good.
I
And-
actually do know
He's-
them. I've been doing my research for marketing grant.
Oh, well,
there you
yes, he
go.
is amazing. His Discord channel is very active and very fun. But he made a joke recently in one of his videos when he was launching the Discord about how every maker basically has ADHD of a kind. We're all
It's
like
so
involved
true.
in 50 million different
Mhm.
things, and we all want to do all of it right now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
but I think you're right about 3D printing in that a lot of different things lead people to 3D printing because it's like that glue. Like you can do so much with 3D printing that it's like branches out into all these like
Mhm.
other communities, which I think is what I love about it. Because like meeting people in 3D printing, you just meet people who do all sorts of really
The
different stuff,
possibilities
like
are
building
endless.
boats or D&D figures or like medical stuff, or you know, like it's
Mhm.
just like so broad and amazing.
Cardboards.
And I think that's why
Yeah.
I fell here and why I like continue to adore 3D printing. And yeah.
That's
For
what's been so
sure.
attractive about it to me because it's such a like accessible thing for someone who like me who's traditionally a graphic designer. But this is something that's really accessible for us. And I didn't really come from I've made stuff, but I typically work in 2D. So when it came to like any kind of sculptural work, I pretty much didn't touch too much of it. But 3D printing to me makes a lot more sense because I'm, you know, good enough at doing computers. And the way I said it made it sound like I wasn't though. So when I do computers,
I do computers.
you know, I do the computer and then yeah, and then I
Slap
can
the
like,
keyboard.
yeah, and the fact that I can print something or make something or design something, like my head works in 3D, but
Yeah.
sometimes my hands don't, you know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
quite get there, or I don't want to buy the materials, or I don't want to think about, you know, it's
Or we
that
can't
kind
Yeah.
of
find
thing.
the
so-
materials. Good lord.
Yeah, you know, it's like that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
100, like I came from a sort of designy, like casually. I never studied graphic design or anything, which is why I say I'm not a real designer. But yeah, like I
That's
did a lot of that
bullshit, and
without
you
through my
are.
career.
Thomas,
I
look
did
at
a
her
lot of that
friggin'
throughout my
thumbnails
career,
and tell me she's
and
not.
like
Yeah.
I made learning for a long time as well, and I've done little bits of marketing and stuff for other companies that I worked on in the fashion world after I did theater. So yeah, a lot of my stuff was 2D, like you, and coming into 3D. If you actually look at my projects, it's all like it starts out just being like extrude a blank shape or like just put a triangle on it. It's very like 2D based, and it gets more and more complex as time goes on. But yeah, I definitely I'm the same. Like making something in 2D or is a lot, like I found that very natural, and coming from fabric and stuff, a lot of that is like 2D turning into 3D. But
That's
you know,
what I
it's not
find
like yeah.
super interesting about your path is because I've always found like textiles incredibly interesting, especially when, you know, the textiles have the intent of becoming something that goes on a person's body, because like from a design perspective, it's like, okay, what is it made out of and why? How does it fit the human that I'm putting on? Especially when you're coming from a, you know, performance thing, that means you have an actor that is doing that part that
And
has
moving
certain
around
dimensions.
It's
And
a
so like,
wonderful design problem. Yeah.
yeah, well, yeah, it's
Mhm.
super cool because it introduces all of these constraints. And then not only that, but you are designing a 3D object in 2D space that will then be fashioned. It just like, that's super cool to me. Like from a
It's
designer
engineering
perspective,
by another
because-
name.
And same, exactly
Yeah.
the same. Like I just love all those constraints, like you said, and trying to make it all work and trying to get the best of all the worlds. Like I just really love making something really well and really thoughtfully and all that sort of stuff. Like if you don't sew already, you should, because it is very much like that. Like
I see, I've wanted to, and I'm always like, I always get over it once I start doing something, right? Something new. But I always don't do it at first because I'm like, oh, icky, I'm gonna be so bad at it. But then like the moment I start doing it, I'm like, oh, I remember, like I was bad at everything when I started, and
Exactly.
I'm just like, time to get weird. Like, let's make it gross.
Yeah, do it seriously. And I like if you ever
That is
have a
how all your
question,
stuff always
sing
turns out.
because you should. It's amazing. Yeah,
You
it's great
should
fun.
see my first pottery. Have you seen it?
Oh no.
Should I go get it?
Go get
Here,
it.
you guys
no.
talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back.
Go
It's real.
get it.
It's not dicks, I promise.
Are you sure? But you know, it's funny. This is another sort of, Thomas has been saying this for episodes and episodes, but technical people and artists have a artificial divide between them that doesn't really exist. And we're just sort of
100%
told that our whole lives, but really it's all the same stuff.
Yeah.
We're just approaching it from different angles.
Yeah. I really think engineering and design are the same thing with
They are
different
exactly the
materials
same.
and
They
tools.
truly
Like
are. They are.
you're solving a problem either way. Like you're solving a human problem, or you're solving a building problem, or you're
Right.
solving a clothing
Right.
problem. But it's the same sort of strategy that gets you to the end goal, you know, in a good way, like in an effective
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And I mean, from my
Totally
experience, I
done
think
that.
if we were to cross pollinate the disciplines more, it would improve both. So
Yeah, I
It's a
think
shame
that's
that we
like
don't.
I think because I do that a bit, you know, like I have a
You do,
technical kind of background, and I have a pretty kind of background, you know, like,
Mhm.
and I think that's why people find my stuff so different, is because
Right.
I just naturally do both. Like I've always loved science, and I wanted to study medicine. That's why my name is Billie Ruben. It's a pun on the byproduct of a breakdown of hemoglobin, you know, like
Mhm.
it's like I've always been fascinated by sciencey stuff. And I've always done like pretty arty stuff too. And yeah, I think that cross pollination, totally agree. Magical stuff happens there in any field. It doesn't have to be art and
Yeah.
design. Like
True.
just like whenever
True.
you mash two fields together, I have this belief that that's how creativity works. I want to do like a ramble, like a video ramble on how creativity works, because I really do think it's like learning something new. It gets mushed up with all your existing knowledge, and like little sparks happen somewhere in there, and
Just
cool,
do
brilliant
it.
things happen.
Just do it.
I put out a vote, and it was like the lowest one. No one was
Billy.
interested in it. I'm like,
What?
I
Billy,
think
just
it
do
would
it.
be
The
great.
worst thing that happens is it never makes it to the internet. Okay?
Yeah.
We do this
Time.
all the time.
I need
Tad,
to.
how many episodes have we recorded that have never made it out to the internet?
Several.
Several.
Yeah.
Well, you should definitely just put those out, because you never know what other people are gonna like. That's
Yeah,
what
the
I've
same
definitely
principle.
learned on the internet, is just put it out there,
Some of
because you
them we
really
can't
don't
put
know
out,
what
but
other people like. And like the things I would make on Reddit that would go off were totally surprising to me. Like I would spend an afternoon on something, and a front page, and you'd be like, wow, okay,
That's
That's how it
interesting.
goes
Like
sometimes.
I didn't think
The-
it was that cool. Like my keycaps recently, the embroidered keycaps.
Those are
I
great,
just did a.
by the way.
they're gorgeous.
I love those.
I did like, it was just a test. It was like a dodgy gray and a dodgy red, like thread, and I just threw it out there. And you know, Hackaday, Make Magazine, Ate a Fruit, and I'm like, oh dang, I really wish I did a better job on those now. But you never know what's gonna take off. Like you never do.
I've found that that's similar when I've done like animation and stuff. Like usually the stuff that's just like silly, quick, and just looks, it comes directly from just the spirit of like, I'm making something today and here you go. I feel like that's where like, you know, you can feel someone made stuff or whatever.
Yep.
But while I was walking up, I think I heard you say something about like sciencey and technical and those mashing together from a creative standpoint. And I love that. And that's why I became a graphic designer, because we're always solving problems and telling. It's like super cool. But so this is my 3D design, which is all ceramic.
Of sorts.
Because I'm like in the ceramic capital of the United States. But this is my first one. And it's all these boys.
Thomas,
Little noodly boys.
Thomas, make sure that you describe it to our audio only listeners.
Oh yeah,
out there.
so it's a like a red clay. I guess it's a pot, kind of. It's all hand pinned. Everything I'll show you is, I think, one slab built, but these are all hand pinched. So you start with coils and then you pinch it up into a thing. You can kind of see inside because I did a bad job.
How many ghost references will we make in the next 20 minutes? Is
we can do plenty. So this is the first one. This was my first step, and then my second step was these. My ceramics professor hated me because I liked to make things incredibly useless, and like the point of pottery is to like make something that is like useful and people can hold and whatever, because it's like culture or something. Pots are really important, and so I made these teacups that are like completely useless. They do stand on their own, so they can.
It looks
support
like
themselves.
the like a pitcher plant.
That's
thing.
exactly where I was going with. I was going with pitcher plant.
And
that glaze is gorgeous though.
You can like kind of hold it, but it's
I
like
would
really.
use that.
I like to put my pinky out, but it's like,
well,
but it's at the bottom. Yeah, so like
extremely pretentious.
If you were to put liquid in this, it would just kind of like
slosh around.
Yeah, so it's
very very tippy, right?
Yeah, and then my last endeavor, the weirdest is I actually sold one of these for like $10 at art school. It was so funny. And my last endeavor, because I don't know how to quit, is like I made this guy, which is big.
Good lord.
Yeah, so it's like this big I didn't know really
Chungus.
what I was going for. So it's kind of a pot, but it's kind of this big planty goitery.
It looks like it
looking
was
thing.
trying to be like a Kiva oven or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
so-
thinking oven. Yeah.
It was supposed to be fired. We were gonna fire it in a big pit, but COVID happened, and so it's still unfired. So it does have a glaze on it, but you can't see it. But it's it's really fun. It's like it's big. It's a big guy.
That's awesome.
It's the heaviest thing
It's
I've
like
ever
some kind
made.
of sea cucumber.
Yeah, it's kind of like amorphous. It's like a biological kind of shape.
It's art. It's whatever the hell you want it to be.
Whatever you want to get out of it, you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Would we just bring Rafi back on to have him describe this for us?
Exactly. What is art?
So fun thing about this, and I actually think about ceramics a lot when we talk about 3D printing, because it's what I'm familiar with. So I kind of will like make, connections between them.
There's a lot of similarity.
As far as the finish goes, and like, how you have the trophy that is sensitive to heat and it'll change color. I forget what the actual term is for it. It's right over there.
Thermochromic.
Yeah, thermochromic. So like when you do ceramic stuff, it'll change inherently in a kiln. And this one is actually supposed to be fired in a pit in the ground with sawdust. And everything that's white on it, ash will actually collect and be part of the glaze. So that turns like jet black, actually. And then the rest of it's glazed a different color. But
Raku, is that the name?
yeah, I believe it is. Yeah, pit firing.
Cool.
Yeah, raku firing.
Love
yeah.
it.
So
Yeah.
isn't that crazy?
It's so cool. My mom used to do a little bit of pottery, and yeah, I love it. I love pottery. It's something just so beautiful and visceral about the feeling of clay on hands and just like making something with. It's just a beautiful. I still love it.
It's both
Yeah.
incredibly messy
It's
and
fun.
incredibly amazing at the same
Oh,
time.
yeah.
It's
And
an
it takes a
incredible
lot.
process.
To get into it and
Well,
get good at it.
And now that I'm thinking about it, what's even crazier is like
Clay 3D printers.
I was talking about how that pot was built in coils. Like 3D prints are
3D printing.
stairs. Like that's
Well, there
just
are
what we're
clay
doing.
3D printers too.
Yes.
Yeah, we actually had one at my university until it got a little clogged, but we did have one, and we printed some stuff with it, which was cool. But
the failures on
cool.
clay printers are always my favorite because it either just makes a massive mess, it builds up a ton of back pressure, and then eventually it just clears the clog violently, or the clay changes viscosity and it goes from being, just a nice smooth line to just it looks like a crime scene, all the splatter everywhere. And the one that always gets me, and it was a Reddit gif, was the guy that attached a can of Easy Cheese, spray cheese
Matt.
to his.
Matt who does the weekly call. That's Matt. He made that.
Matt Stoltz
Yes.
did the Easy Cheese
Yes.
Delta printer.
Yes.
oh
Matt
no.
Stoltz.
Explains
Yes.
so much. For those that don't know, Matt Stoltz is the community manager over at Prusa. So he is kind of a big deal and a close friend of all of us makers, and hosts a weekly call. Follow him on Twitter. Links will be down below. Look, we're just adding more SEO
I know,
to
right?
this, okay? Backlinks for days for everybody, but I didn't know that was Matt, because what I love about that video is whoever was recording it, all of the frustration that they had, where they were basically threatening that printer with bodily injury. I'm like, that is my life. I understand that to a level that most people do not understand. I did not know that was Matt. That's gorgeous. That makes it so much better to me to know that it's Matt.
He's like quietly has done so many cool things. Like I gotta get him on sometimes. Like I gotta do something really cool to talk about. I'm like, you already do cool things. You've got to come on the.
You put the Easy Cheese on the like you're
already. Come on, you're already cool. And he used to work for Make magazine and do all sorts of maker fairs and stuff. He is very cool and supportive and wonderful human. I don't think I would be where I am in the community were it not for him. He's a beautiful, beautiful soul. I love Matt. Yeah. But I was wondering, you said you did pottery and you're a graphic designer. Did you study fine art or did you study something else?
So my degree is a bachelor in fine arts, and in my university, it was required as a graphic designer to take studios that didn't relate to your end practice. So one of mine was ceramics, which is like, I think it's important because it taught me a lot about how to think about 3D space and then maybe apply it to 2D space, et cetera, et cetera. So like
I think it's worked out well for you.
Yeah.
The friggin'
I was gonna
logos,
say.
everything you've made for Three
So-
Musketeers
you
are
want the
so.
logo? They're beautiful.
Yeah,
I
Thomas
love
is not
them.
only the logo guy, but he's the one that draws the animals too.
Yeah.
Oh, you are very,
Yeah,
very
so what did I do? I did I drew. I started with illustration was mostly what I did. And so I did like everything that you would do in art school, which is like, I always like to say, like drawing naked people, which was the fun. It's actually
That's what
not as
everyone
fun
thinks
as
of.
well, yeah, but it's not as fun
It's
as people
not
think it
sexual
is.
in the moment.
No,
Yeah, like-
first of all, it's like never sexy because there's nothing sexy about 12 people drawing a naked person in the middle of a concrete room. There's nothing sexy about that. Like,
No.
so take all those fantasies out of your head because it's just not that ever. And
Yeah.
it's actually really funny because usually they'll just put on a robe and come over and be like, "Oh my God, that's me, and that's my naked body," and you're like, "Yeah, it is." Like, it is.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I did a few other like here and there things. What did I do? Like painting, ceramics, and just like.
I wish more
Multitude of
colleges
things.
did that though, right? And I know they try with like the gen eds or unis where they do it with like gen eds where you have to take a little bit of everything, but they don't like. I'm a business major and I took for my electives physics and circuits and other geeky classes. I took business law twice because I just really liked the professor.
I ended up
Dr.
taking I took a shit ton of art history courses just because I liked them. And I actually was I was a course away from having a minor in art history just from accidentally doing it. But I didn't want to pay. I didn't want to pay for it. I was going to pay for an art history minor.
Okay, that's fair.
I got out of it what I wanted, which was I learned. So it was like I don't need a piece of paper that costs $1,000. So
Yeah.
but-
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, my mum's a fine artist and taught fine art when I was growing up and stuff. And even though I haven't really
hell
done
yeah.
art until recently, like these are some of my first paintings up here, but I've always been surrounded by art. And like you said, yeah, it's so not sexy. It's like, and I think a lot of people don't understand that nudity can be non-sexual. Like,
Which
think
is a weird
especially
thing
Americans,
because
sorry, but especially
no, that's
Americans,
true.
like-
Americans have a very fucked up relationship with like sex and violence.
It's true.
Yeah.
For
and
most
like,
of the
even
world, it's
children
the
being nude,
opposite.
they're like, oh, it's perverse. I'm like, it's just a kid. They're running around nude
Yeah.
because they're a child. Like,
That's what
there's
they
nothing
do.
Yeah.
sexual
We're
about
all
it.
born
Like,
naked.
stop
Get with
making
the
it weird.
program.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
No,
anyway.
I think
as you're coming out there, they're holding the pants or the shirt for you.
For you to
okay?
fall into.
Right,
Yeah.
you fall right into
Bundle
it.
it up real
Yeah.
quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and if you're in
I-
Utah, you have an even like more ornate thing going on. So
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I think I've said it before,
Yeah.
but it's actually kind of funny. Like, I mean, that's why we draw, you draw the human body and you're trained to draw the human body as an artist and as a designer a lot of the time because the proportions are so specific
Yep.
that if you get them wrong, people will know
Uncanny
because it's
Valley.
familiar. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
like learning that you can pretty much draw anything afterwards. But I remember like, it became so non-sexual to me in college because of, first of all, doing those. I actually did them in high school as well, but like I remember one day you're not allowed to ever have students of the art school be your nude models because that's it's like a no-no. You take people from outside the school to come in and you pay them and whatever. But one day our model didn't show up, so my good friend at the time just dropped trow, and she just got up there and she did it, and we were all like, "What the heck?" But it was so cool because I was like, "Oh my God!" Like, I never got the chance, but I was like, "I'll be the next one. I'll do it. I don't care.
Wait.
Like, I'll give it a shot."
My friends and I have talked
You
about
could
doing
be a
that, like
guest,
each
you could
week
do
one
it
of us
now.
poses and the rest of us paint.
Yeah,
Like
like,
we talked
yeah,
about it because we're a bit crazy and we do get a bit naked at parties and stuff. Like I think it would be good though. It like shows everyone's human and like
Dude,
all
yeah,
that stuff.
I
And it's
actually-
interesting seeing how other people perceive you as well. Sorry, I'm rambling.
That's actually the weirdest thing, and it'll be a small tidbit that I'll keep small so I don't get into it. But the nudity at parties thing is something that I think is very unifying for people, and everybody
Yeah.
should try it. That's all I'm saying. Everyone should
it's
just
a
give it. It's
bonding
not sexual.
experience.
It's not sexual. Just give it a shot. Just
Yeah.
Just like not at family parties
Yeah.
though. Just
Yeah,
not-
yeah,
not-
yeah.
Oh, obviously, yeah. No.
Yeah, no. We keep the family out of it, Grant. Come on.
And
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
with the proper social distancing, mask wearing, and all that
Yes.
jazz.
Yeah,
In
this is
Australia,
Mosaic
it's
gear
not
for
allowed.
social gatherings.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
mask is the only thing you're allowed to have on. And that's
And you
it.
get creative that way you put it.
And that's a part. Yeah. You can have 2 masks if you want. Yeah. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
of a sudden, you
Oh,
turned a
incredible.
mask into a Borat bikini thing.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
That's
like
immediately what I
a
thought. I was like,
yeah, like a banana hammock. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be really great. Yeah. It'll be super cool. Very excited.
You know, Billy, what
But I
is-
agree. Everyone should get nude with their friends. Are you even friends if you haven't seen each other nude? I don't know.
That's kind of what
That'd
I
be
do.
an
It's
awkward
like a
company meeting. I'm just gonna put that out there. Don't do that.
No, Grant, it would be a
Grant.
hilarious company
Yeah.
meeting. It would be
you
the
get over it
funniest-
real fast, is what you would.
Yeah.
You would.
you'd-
Yeah.
How often do we stand up on these meetings? I may not know. Okay.
You could be
What?
wearing. Yeah,
Thomas
you
may
might
not
not
have
be wearing pants
on
right now.
Everyone should try it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is true though, and this whole stigma that we have surrounding nudity, it's a problem. And I'm gonna make a point about this because one of our good friends, Ubermeisters, got banned from the 3D printing subreddit for what were objectively really nice pasties that he made. He did a very good job designing and 3D printing them, and everything was covered. He made sure that these were perfectly sized, and he was banned. At the time, he was a mod, and he wasn't like
No,
given a.
He
not
wasn't a mod.
then?
But
Oh, that's
yeah,
right, he
'cause-
dropped
okay,
his
so
mod.
this is what happens on Reddit. There is one guy who is the top moderator on Reddit because he was there the longest, and even though he's never really been a part of the community, because he was the moderator there first, he has all the fucking power, and he has made every single active moderator
Hate him.
banned, but like remove them from Ubermeisters, Zach, and then me. Like all
So
of
it's
them.
like a little dictatorship.
Yeah, and
So-
we even
so,
took it to
like-
Reddit and went, here's the situation, and they're like, can't do anything, he's still
So
semi-active. And it was like,
You
but-
can't even like if you were to print
Petition.
like well, because the first thing I think is like, oh my god, like what about let's print the statue of David, but let's give him a big old dick, like a bigger one.
This is the
like-
problem we have with Discord.
Those,
Because I
those
feel like-
models do exist.
Yeah, but I feel like that's something that you should be able to do because it's like the whole freedom of like you should be able to express those things and you should be able to have nude models printed in 3D.
I completely
Snowflakes,
agree.
man.
I completely agree.
Oh, that's so prudish,
I
man.
feel the color coming into my face because it makes me so angry. That whole Reddit thing made me so angry because like
It makes
watching
me
the community
angry too.
beg to have me back and not even knowing who this guy is because he's
Yep.
literally not active
Never
on the
around.
subreddit, and having so many hundreds of people beg to have me back, and having other moderators step down and other moderators get also removed by this guy on his little power trip.
And like Billy, what was
Like,
the
it
last
just makes
time
me so
either of us
angry.
heard from Uber? When?
Yeah.
It's been years. I have attempted to reach out. His Discord's gone. It's gone. And I don't know if he's got a new one, but his old one is gone. He's active on Reddit, but he does not respond to my messages. I'm like, dude, you were one of the huge factors that made me keep posting in these communities, made me keep assisting other people, and without you there, it feels like part of it's missing. And I think I stopped being a part of that community as much as I was when everything with you, Billy, happened, because it's like that guardian angel of making is gone. And then it just becomes corporate chills. And like, I'm a mod of quite a few 3D printing subreddits, but not the big one. Like, I'm a mod in the 3D print my thing subreddit. And so many times
Brag
we get
about
all,
it, Grant.
huh?
I
I'm
can
not
brag
the
about
main
it.
mod. I'm not the main mod.
So-
You're
Uh,
a mod. That's still
I am,
something.
I am a mod, and I love that. So we've been looking at the Thunk 3D Archer S 3D scanner, and Thunk has spammed that subreddit so many times. I have finally sent them an email because I have their direct email now saying, guys, cut this out, or all this talk about me becoming a distributor, we're tossing it out the window, because I can't have it. I cannot. This subreddit is designed for, it's a 3D Hubs replacement, okay? But it's a subreddit. You are posting 3D scans, and don't get me wrong, They're pretty cool, but there's a 3D scanning subreddit. Go put it in there. It's frustrating because Reddit has become more of a corporate shill device than anything else. And as a self-proclaimed corporate shill, because, well, there are bills to pay,
Yeah.
you know, and like I would post these parts we made. This is for a 1986 LeBaron. He did not call it a LeBaron. I forget what he called it, but I'm pretty
I
sure.
think he misspelled it, right?
I think he misspelled it. I forget what it was called, but it's for, I believe it's for a LeBaron, but it's for the flip up headlights. And so this car has hideaway headlights, and the part rotates, and that opens up. This is the original part. It's broken. It's hardcore broken. And the new one, this is PETG, $15 for the two pieces. Less than $100 on the design.
Good as new.
He's in this for less than $150, and he's fixing a car that parts don't exist for.
Yeah. So $150 is peanuts for that.
Absolutely. The car, if the car is, you know, functioning as it should, just that one part adds more than $150 of value back to the vehicle. So we're going to start with PET. We're going to see how well it lasts, but because we have the CAD model, we can always do it in polycarb or carbon fiber polycarb. He's used to taking it apart, so we both agreed there's a pretty large price discrepancy between PETG and polycarb, just because it's a harder material to print. It's quadruple the price. Yeah. You know, and you can only, well, okay, you should use a specialized machine. You don't have to. You can print it on a Mark III's from Prusa. Joseph Prusa, please sponsor us. You can do it.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, but it is, Warp City. Warp freaking City. Have you ever printed in any high temp stuff, Billy, or are you just getting into PET?
I'm only just getting into PETG. I have no need. I don't, like, the functional parts I make don't need that much strength. And
Brad
don't
was
need
the
to.
same
I don't
way.
repair cars or anything, you know. I don't. Yeah, I don't need to.
You know, it's funny because when I started 3D printing for like projects and stuff in school years and years ago, I was like kind of poo-pooing PLA at the time. I was like, I do everything in ABS, and I did. And I
There's
lived
so
with
many people like that. Yeah.
Yep.
I lived
Old
with the
schoolers.
stank, but everything was strong. But now I'm like, really, everything I do now is in PLA because if you don't need the strength, there's just no point in doing anything else because it's such a
There's so many
well-behaved
other
material.
issues. Yeah.
Yeah, and and I
Yeah.
like that it comes from a renewable resource, and I like
Exactly.
that, you know, like, it's not terrible to try and recycle. That's why I don't use my resin printer more, is that you can't really recycle the waste material.
Yeah.
But like, I
Yeah.
save all of my filament scraps in little color-coded bundles for the day that I can properly recycle it all.
You stuff a pillow with it in the meantime.
Oh God, that'd be the
God.
worst pillow ever made.
Crunch, crunch, crunch.
But just
Yeah.
imagine, like, one of the little sharp points coming out, just like giving you a paper cut. Ugh.
Oh,
On the bright side, though, I will say I have fought for the past couple of weeks to have our local recycling facility take 3D printed scraps, and we've come to an agreement. And it is all FDM 3D printed material as long as it is separated by
what it is.
type, right? So
Yeah.
PLA, PET, ABS, ASA, polycarb, they'll take it all. As long as we separate it, we put it inside of recyclable bags. So normally when you go, like when we take tons of empty spools, because I would have thought that we were going to get so many people that would just take them from me from like Facebook or Craigslist for Christmas lights. These are great for Christmas lights. If you are local and have not taken down your Christmas lights, damn it, come get some spools. I have way too many. But if you're not, I'm not shipping them to you. Go get a 3D printer and use the spools. But go get a Prusa and use the spools. But
Thanks, Joe.
yeah, those we
Please.
take in trash bags and then we dump them into a dumpster, and I take the trash bag back because they don't want to recycle the trash bag. They just want the ABS. They said put it in a recyclable bag. That way we can see that it's marked. So when we're going through everything, we don't immediately take it out.
Yeah.
So at least we've come to some agreement there. Greengate is starting to do recycled ABS, although that was kind of their big thing.
Oh, ABS.
Or sorry, no, PETG. Excuse me.
Yeah,
That was a
they've always
misspeak.
done PETG.
And
It's
they
100%. Like the Billie Ruben's cherry pie is 100%.
I was gonna say
Older
they
than
are
I
a
think.
sponsor of yours, aren't they? Or a supporter.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we We have the color, and if you buy the color, then I get a little bit of money.
I'm gonna. So the CEO of Greengate
Rich.
and we're friends on Facebook,
Ah,
which is
he's
hilarious because like when we were doing everything with Brad, he's emailing me saying, "Hey, do you know this kid?" I'm like, "Yes, we're involved in the project." He's like, "Oh, okay." He's like right around the corner from me. Like, "Yeah, that's why we're involved in the project." He's like, "Okay, cool. So you can help him, right?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Okay, cool. We're gonna send him like one of everything." I'm like, cool.
One of everything. Oh my god.
But it was interesting because Brad does the Maker box every month, and got some samples from them, and the samples had broken. The seal was broken, and water had gotten in. And in Florida, if it sits in the mail for a few days out in the open, you've got measurable amounts of moisture in there. And so he could not print it. And I went over, I verified, I'm like, okay, it's not you. Literally, this filament is tough to print. And so I go talk to Rich about it, and he's like, oh crap, we didn't know this. One of them he knew about. He knew there was an issue with the bags, but the other one he didn't know about. And unbeknownst to Brad, Rich sent him like 2 or 3 kilos of new filament, and Brad has really enjoyed it. But Brad is the same way. He's always printed in PLA. And recently we got him his first resin 3D prints, of course, a Hope. Hope is actually right above me, right up there, because I use her for photos. She's our golden retriever for scale. But he's just starting to get into PET, and we gave him some resin to play around with on his Hermeras, on his E3D tool changer. And it's been interesting because he's now starting to learn about the material sciences, and he references you so much, Billy, in everything. He's like, okay, I was looking at, this thing from Billy. Am I going about this correct? I said, yes, you're following the directions that are well written by someone who says they're not a graphic designer but is lying to themselves.
In practice, you're a graphic designer.
Yeah. I mean,
there's not a certification like architects that makes you a designer. You can be one without a piece of dumb paper.
Exactly.
I feel like there's probably big bits of my knowledge that I'm missing, or that I just do on instinct. Anyway,
Billy, I am not an engineer.
That's most
I can
things.
use Fusion, okay? 95% of the customers that we deal with firmly believe that I am closer to Tad in terms of my schooling.
And I mean, you are. I mean, in terms of your skill set, you're closer to me than your education would suggest.
Oh yeah, but nowhere near from practical experience. Like you have worked on like big hardcore machines, and while I have too, I did not get any formal training on them. It's like, hey, this machine will not only kill you, it will hurt the entire time you are dying. Here's what you do to make it do things. No safety instructions, no nothing. Like, okay, if you go into this area, you are putting yourself in immediate bodily risk. Best of luck.
Lockout, tag out, hazardous gas, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, what a nightmare.
Lockout, tag out. What the hell is that? Lockout, tag out means you're the last idiot to turn the lights out, okay? That's what that means.
Don't fuck it up. You're putting everyone else's lives in danger.
Yeah, if it wasn't just me and the other guy that owns the machine that were operating it, we probably would have taken it more seriously. But I've enjoyed it.
I worked in construction. Oh, sorry, you go.
No, go ahead. I know you worked in construction. I want to hear about this.
Yeah, I worked in construction. I wasn't like in construction, but I worked on a construction site for a while. And yeah, like the safety stuff is like, I don't know whether it's the same in the US, but it's like really, really heavy here. Like safety is
should
huge.
be.
And then I walked into like other places, and I was like, what are we doing? Like,
it's a little bit fast and loose.
What? Yeah. Yeah, like
my entire life.
Yeah, and like 3D printing is kind of one of those things too, because everyone's like, oh, resin, it's fine. I touch it all the time without gloves, and I breathe it. And I'm like, stop, what are you doing? That's not how and they're like, it's been fine for me. I'm like, that's not how this works.
That doesn't mean it's okay.
Cancer doesn't happen in a week. And like, or it like builds up this tolerance inside you until one day, boom, anaphylaxis. Like, you wouldn't feel it until you're dying. Stop doing it. Like, it drives me nuts.
I'm one of those people that if
you don't stop, Grant.
All right.
Seriously, no, I'm not hearing it. You're not making excuses.
I use tweezers.
Put breathing protection on. Okay, tweezers. But
the breathing protection is the one that I haven't figured out yet, because everyone says resin stinks. other than tough resin, I don't
It's not
smell
the
it.
smell. It's the
The smell
what
doesn't
doing to
matter.
your
It's the
body. It doesn't
fumes.
matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't-
There's
it's not the
filters in my
discomfort,
office, we're
it's the
fine.
cancer.
Oh,
No,
there's
you
crazy
need a-
filters in my office.
You need a face mask, Grant.
Yeah,
I
dude.
only
Yeah.
recently found
You
out
need a
that
respirator.
Good.
this stuff here is like crazy bad news bears. Oh, you guys can't see it. Methylene chloride. I knew it was bad, but I didn't realize it's like carcinogen shitty.
Grant, it sounds bad. It literally sounds
So-
bad.
You need
It
a
sounds like a
fluid.
super.
I might have
Not
had
okay.
a syringe explode from it, and it got I'm gonna get a meeting with my GP next week just to make sure we're all clear. But I will say, and for all those that don't wear gloves when they work on resin, it took me about 9 months to become sensitive to the resin. I am now sensitive to it. If I get it on my skin, I can feel it instantly. But that was back when we
You're
didn't.
lucky it's just feel it and not the
Yeah.
throat closes up and you die, because that is a normal, like the throat closing up and dying is the normal outcome.
Oh no,
of
it gets
that
itchy.
situation.
It gets the spot
Well,
gets
you're
itchy.
lucky. You're lucky.
Yeah, some
You
people
are.
have much worse reactions.
No, I
Yeah.
have
I
I
started
know
to take
people who
it
have to
way
put on
more
hazmat
seriously.
suits essentially. Yeah.
That would be so. As a bit, since it's just me that's running the printers, it's a little bit tough for me to throw on a full bunny suit to
No,
go
that's
run
what they
the
need
resin.
to now because they're so sensitive to it.
Yeah, I wear big gloves now. I wear like the yellow kitchen gloves, and
Do we at least put on a
A
disposable mask?
respirator.
when we are working on the tough resin. But with that being said,
But just because you can't smell the other ones doesn't mean they're not putting off fumes.
they're fully sealed. So these are the original Elgu
But when you're
Marses.
cleaning, that's when I find the most fumes happen. When you're cleaning.
It's done in the wash cure stations.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's all yeah,
That's better.
it's all
Okay.
and that's when we got those. That's when everything got better. It's like, okay, cool. You scrape it off into the metal bucket. The metal bucket goes into the mean green. You put the lid on. You click go. You wait for the stupid thing to buzz you. You come out. You lean it up so it drains in. We have a dehumidifier that dries off the parts in 5 or 10 minutes. I come back. They're totally clean. And they've got a soft cure on them, so they're safe to touch. You take it all off, and then you'll know, like the feeling of resin on your hands. It's very clear that you've got it there. And now that we figured out the right mixture to get all the resin off, and we know when to be changing our fluid that we use for cleaning, it's gotten so much better. But every now and then, it doesn't clean perfectly, and I'll be wearing gloves like, it's got to go back in the cleaner. It didn't get it all out. So yes, Billy, I know you'll get mad at me for it. And yeah, I did not take it
Not
seriously
mad,
until
I'm disappointed.
that's
Yeah, seriously.
Oh no,
Here it
it's so
is.
much worse.
Oh, it's so much
no.
worse.
Oh,
I'm just turning
God.
off my video and leaving.
And that's the podcast, everybody.
Bye.
Roll credits.
We'd like to thank Prusa for not sponsoring us, and we'd like to...
No, but it was the Reddit post that woke me the hell up. It was right when I was starting to feel it, like it started to get itchy. The guy that transported a resin printer on his lap and it spilled. And
my
it
Lord.
soaked into his pants. And he's like, okay, I'm fine.
He cleaned up
No,
everything else before his pants, and he had like
blisters,
burns,
like
proper
chemical burns.
Into the safety shower.
Yeah, he didn't
Yeah.
have one of those.
Where's the eye wash station?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, no.
So like I am so like this first Mars that we have dead. Its screen is dead, and now that the Saturns are on their way, I am not going to fix it. I'm going to have Brad. I'm going to give him that Mars, but I'm going to make him buy the screen. That I have. The
Replace
screen.
it.
I have them, and I'm going to make him buy a tank because I have spare tanks, but that's a used tank, and I don't want to give him a used tank full of resin. So he's going to get
Oh,
a
good.
resin 3.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, there's no problem with Grant just giving a 15-year-old
child.
child an incredibly dangerous
Yeah.
piece of machinery
Yeah.
with chemicals
And
inside.
I'm so glad that I'm not the only one that got on him when he's like, so what do I need to do? And we're like, literally everything. Treat it like it is a bomb. And when you realize they are considerably easier to work on, then you can look at, all right, do I really need the full face protection, all that? Probably not. Is it good to have?
You
Yes.
do stop.
Grants.
He's 15. He has so much time to get cancer. Make him wear a mask. I'm not doing this.
Billy, he's
A
already had
P5 volatile organic. Well, more. You can
Well, yeah,
always
that's
get
even
more
worse.
cancer.
That's worse, Grant.
Get
You know,
a volatile organic compound mask, and I'm
I'm
not
saying
hearing
that-
any more from you not doing this with the child. Oh
Safety
my
glasses
God.
for sure. Safety
I think the
glasses.
Brad,
problem
if
is
you're
that-
listening, Brad, if you're listening
Brad,
to this,
Where
I'm
where
going to DM you. Do not touch that resin without a volatile
I
organic
think the
compound
problem
mask.
here is that we are in America, which is already worse than the rest of the world in terms of safety for things.
14,000 new COVID cases in Florida alone.
And then, of course, because Florida is its own animal, then
That's not a reason to more try. More trying.
Grant, you have to remember where you're from. That's coloring
Yeah,
your.
that's fair.
I'm from Australia. Everything tries to kill us, and I still put on a
I was about to say,
volatile
like,
compound mask.
actually, Billy is
Yeah.
probably one
One
of
of
the
the more
safest
dangerous place.
people here in general, just because every day she leaves her house, she has to be like, okay, what's gonna kill me today? What's
Huntsman
gonna try?
spiders,
I found a
wallabies.
No, the huntsmans are good.
We literally
I'm told.
found a huntsman last night, and we've hadn't found him for weeks in our bathroom, and he lives in the drain in the bathroom, and he's so cute
Okay,
and little.
so I had a
and
question.
today I decided, last night I decided I'm gonna build him a little house, so he doesn't have to
Okay.
live in the stinky drain. So he's gonna be
So-
a little house in the bathroom for the huntsman.
So Billy, I'm confused because I did see this on Twitter and I couldn't help but question. So the huntsman's in the drain,
yeah.
and
Well,
you
he's
put
in the
not
shower
showers.
mostly. So, the shower. So there's like the shower drain, and then there's like the bathroom drain where the bubbles come up if you use too much shampoo.
Okay, because
Oh.
He's in
I
the
was like,
emergency drain.
Emergency
how the
drain.
hell is this spider living through every shower you
Yeah.
take?
Yeah.
Australia is the answer.
I was
No,
like,
no.
there's no way.
He's in the like secondary drain.
Okay.
yes.
I was just, I was like, there's no way this spider's alive. And if it is, you need to take this somewhere to be researched because it's a super spider.
Which
well,
is
already
dangerous for all of us.
was a super
No,
spider
they're not
and is now
dangerous.
even more.
It just looks scary.
Huntsmans are the good guys. They don't even make webs, and they kill all the
Hmm.
bad bugs. We like the huntsmans. They are the good spiders.
You just don't
The
poke
only
them a
good
lot.
spiders.
There's lots of. They're all good in their place. And if in
Like-
Australia, the general rule with surviving Australia is don't fuck with it, and it'll all be fine. Like if
Don't
you see a
touch it,
snake,
yeah.
you observe the snake. You're like, there is a snake. Everybody, there is a snake. Look at the snake. And we all exchange previous sightings of snake stories. We're just like, and we talk about the snake, and then we just leave it the fuck alone, and nothing happens. Nothing happens.
And your
So
possums
like
you
this
are
is how we
crazy.
deal with all of our possums are
drop bears.
adorable. We
Well, I was about to
definitely
say
got
they're-
the cutest possums.
I was gonna say their possums are cute because ours feigned death.
Ours
so
are
that's
amazing.
kind of like, no, I love ours. Don't get me wrong.
They do hard
Yes,
work.
they
do.
have a charm. Yes.
Yes, I do love them.
They fulfill an
Do yours
extremely
make strange
important function.
sounds? Because owls make actual demon noises. Do
Like,
yours make?
Pretty
Okay, no,
quiet.
owls make like
I think they're
cackling,
quiet.
They're scavengers.
goblin noises. Yeah.
Yeah, I think ours typically try to stay quiet, and then when you see them, they kind of make like a hissing sound,
Yeah,
and
they
they just stop, and then they die. Well, they look like they die. Yeah, you know, they kind of just
And they'll like
So-
make all the right noises of death. They'll vomit. Oh yeah, they do a very convincing.
Convincing
They are-
little song and
They are
dance.
the greatest little animal ever. They're so great. I
They
love
eat like
them.
3,000 ticks a year or something.
Yep.
Thanks. Wow.
Yeah,
Ticks,
and that's
yeah.
not something I'm gonna do. So
Mm-mm.
get at it.
And
Go possum.
it's good because we
Go
hate
Matt.
ticks.
Yeah.
We should pay them. Honestly, these guys are contributing
do,
members
they're
of
cats,
society.
And Billy,
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, okay.
what 3D printers
Right.
do you currently have?
Oh, sorry. I have. Okay.
Circling back.
Yeah,
Yeah, coming
Back on
around for
topic.
Boston.
because
Yeah.
I know the CR30. I know you've got a
This is-
resin printer.
Oh god, I can't. So that
Oh,
is
there's Delta.
an Anycubic Coastal
Wow.
Linear Plus, which is my main driver generally. This is a CR30 / print mill from Creality. I have a giant CR10S5, which I hate with a burning passion, and I'm going to turn into a plotter, I believe. I have an Anycubic Photon, which was my first resin printer, which I adore. And I just got a Creality LD002H, which is a review that I'll have up soon. It was in exchange for some copywriting work and a review of the machine. And yeah, it is really good. It has a monochrome display, so it cures a lot quicker than my Photon, which is neat.
Have you done
And yeah,
side by
I really
sides
like
to
it.
see
Apart
how
from its
fast?
angry beeping, even when it's happy, like it's like a noise of like it's good is like, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's your happy noise. Interesting. Other than that, it's a good machine. Yeah, and the manuals and stuff are really good. So I have been impressed by Creality lately.
It's just like, let me tell you the song of my.
I'm like, oh, that's your happy noise. Okay, all right, okay.
How lovely.
Good to know.
The Elgu makes great resin printers. If you are out there looking
Yeah,
to
the
get
Mars
a
is a good
cheap
one.
resin printer, Creality, their LD002, I hear is phenomenal. The Anycubic Photon has always been kind of the industry standard, although I think the Mars kind of took over in terms of it, because the Mars came out at $200 US, which is honestly way too cheap, given
For
all
what you
of
get?
given all the clear hazards and how just unwilling people are to adapt to it. Hi, one of those people that definitely learned the hard way.
Yeah.
But
Oh no, Grant. Hello, I am Grant, and I bear the scars of the 3D printing industry.
oh my God, yes,
that's you
I
now.
do.
Yeah.
How many
Both
scars
mental
on
and
my
physical.
hand?
How many times have you touched the hot end?
Oh, at least once, guaranteed. At least half a dozen
Yeah, I
times.
have a scar from that.
The scars that I have are, and it's funny because Colin at Dub MFG or Dub LMG now on Twitter, he and I have the same scars from the same thing, removing prints from our lulzbot with a sharp scraper and stabbing it into your own hand. I have scars from that.
When we would, I was just going to say, similarly, when we would carve wooden blocks for printmaking, that was the thing that I did a lot of, that somehow I forgot about. That was my major art thing. I did printmaking, a lot of it.
Oh, my mom too, there you go.
Yeah, so when we carved wooden blocks, you always, they even had like things to keep your hand out of the carving, direction. And there was a girl one time, one of my good friends, and she slipped and she gouged deep into her thumb, completely bleeding, and she passed out on the floor. And so we had to get medics there, because it's like, part of the school protocol, even if she was fine, but protocol was like, go to her, like take her to like the health center and like take her in like a wheelchair. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was. That taught everyone in that freshman class, not one that I wasn't in, because I was already like on to another one. I just heard about it, but that taught everyone there really quick. They're like, yeah, do not fuck with things in this room, because things will crush you, they will chemically burn you, and they will cut you. Everything in this room. Like, that's why paper cutters always have two buttons on them, so that when you press it, your hands cannot be anywhere near the blade.
Hey, buddy, can you come over here and press this button for me? I'm
I
trying to align the paper.
I love that sort of design thinking, though, that forces people to be safer, like the 2-button thing and stuff like that. I just love that from a human design.
See,
it's true in a lot of industries.
Dig it.
I want 3D printers to have this, especially ones with
so
enclosures. They should have, when you open them, they should stop and they should cool down. Right? If they have an enclosure and you're running it with an enclosure, it should have a lockout on it. So
or an interlock.
I think some of the ones made for kids do have that. They like lock and don't open and stuff. I think, but they're aimed to. Yeah, I'm with you. But I'm just saying.
And it wouldn't even have to be anything. It could just be a switch that, when the lid opens,
it's as simple as like a fridge door, like a fridge light. You just put that on there.
It can easily, it can be a little switch that when it activates, a command is sent through the duet, whatever it is, to instantly pause and go ahead and cool down the hot end. And
move it up out of the way or something.
This is one of the main reasons why we don't touch education, because you can put 3D printers in schools. It's no problem. The hard part of it is dealing with the users of little Timmy going in like, this thing is moving, grabs it, gets second-degree burns, and now all of a sudden little Timmy's parents are mad at me. And in America, that means lawyers, and I don't have that kind of time or money. And I will say on the stabbing and the hand thing, I did get multiple cutting gloves. Stabbed through multiple cutting gloves. I eventually spent the money and got a nice chainmail one, and I still
managed to cut yourself.
So that just means
that
means you're a big, strong man, Grant.
No, I was using a much smaller blade than the.
It went right through it.
And it went.
Oh my god!
if this was medieval times,
thinner
Grant.
blade that, because then you don't have to put as much force behind it. Like get like a Stanley knife blade. What do you call them? What does Americans call them?
X-Acto?
Call them
Like an X-Acto.
A razor blade?
No?
a box cutter. A box
Oh,
cutter
yes.
blade,
Oh,
the
you don't
long
want to
one,
get cut
and
by
just
one of those.
slide that. No, because you slide it underneath, and then you don't need as much force. Like it's the force that you're putting behind it that's the dangerous thing. If you that just peels it off, nice and neat.
The most dangerous tool is a dull tool.
Or the 200-pound gorilla operating the tool.
Well, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that would also the
I'm just saying,
200
people
gorilla in chainmail operating the tool.
Brad
People think
actually
that, like,
solved this problem for me. Brad was awesome when he went up to Printed Solid for Burf this past year. Sorry, Billy, you didn't get to go to that, but it was renamed Burf instead of Verf. He brought us back a magnetic build plate for the Taz 6. So Printed Solid makes one, so that was a little surprise from him. That I said, my hands will thank you.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's one of the main reasons we do not use that printer much anymore, because flex plates are amazing, and printers that don't have them should really look at it.
Yeah.
It is astounding to me, all the machines that don't. But yeah, it has been fascinating to me to see you come up in this industry, Billy, and we are proud to be able to support you in making these videos to help you get your name out there, even though our reach is probably worse than yours. How many views are on your podcast so far? I'm curious to see where we sit. You've got to be over we're at like 350.
Oh no, you'd have more than me then. Because my YouTube videos only get. I'll look it up, but
we got to change that.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
Everyone's working on it, man.
Yep.
Thank
we all have to
you.
work
I really
together.
appreciate it.
Hey, the rising tide rises all ships, right?
And thank you for having me on. And this was really lovely. It was lovely to catch up and to meet you guys. And this has been really, really great. So thank you.
Absolutely.
And thank you for all your support over the years. And I feel very blessed to know you. And thank you, Grant. Like, yeah.
Before we let you go, tell the folks where they can find you one more time.
Okay. YouTube, Twitter, Discord, my website. I'm going to put those down below.
Yep.
Yeah.
Links in the description.
Yeah.
And, Billy, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure.
You.
I've said we've got kind of our core group of makers that we just love to talk with. So we got to like make it a thing where you come on every certain amount of episodes and we do updates of, hey, how's your maker journey and
what you're working on.
One of the
That'd be
big
fun.
things,
Yeah.
one of the big things makers have to tackle every single day is burnout, and it's something that all of us have to deal with. And I would love to see, and I hope maybe we'll do it. I don't know. I just need to be better at these things. But I want to do a video on burnout and talk about how real it is in this industry, where people will get...
I'm there right now, to be honest. Yeah.
And it just like, these kind of products do not excite me at all anymore. It's like, okay, yeah, it's money. Cool. All right. And that means I'm losing my core as a maker, and I don't like that. So like joining all of these groups, getting back involved with you and Matt and Brad and Faye and Colin, all these other makers, it has reinvigorated me to continue to make awesome. And,
that's wonderful. Yay.
Yeah, as always, this podcast is supported by 3D Musketeers. If you want to make awesome and you are located in the United States, please reach out to us at 3D Musketeers. If you're located in Australia, hit Billy up. Maybe she'll be able to make you something cool. I don't know. Who knows? We're going to build you a service bureau overnight, Billy. No. But, this is going to be coming out, timing-wise, toward the end of January, most likely. So, as always, you all need to call your loved ones and remind them that you love them. Damn it, because you don't know when that is going to change. But anyways, stay safe out there, socially distance, wear your mask, and as always, keep making awesome. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.